Alright, here we go. Today I'm going to show you how to make your homemade ginger beer, which is cheaper and better for you. So, here we go. I'm going to show you everything you need. So, you need lemons. I've got 6 lemons here. Put them all together. There you go, 6 lemons. I have my little fermented starter of ginger, yeah. So it's fermenting ginger in that jar, which I keep in the fridge, by the way, which slows down the fermentation process. So we're going to put that into the saucepan over here, which already has the water. So I've filled up those bottles of water, not that one, that's a bottle of vinegar. Get out of the way. So I filled up those bottles, those 4 big bottles and 1 little bottle. They're about 750 ml each, and that's 475 ml. So that's how much water is in there roughly. Although with these soda stream bottles, you only fill them up to there. Oh, they're 840 ml to there. So 4 of those bottles, 840 ml, and 1 bottle here, which you put about 250 ml in there. You leave space in there. It's good for the fermentation process to have some air in there, some oxygen, to keep it fermenting. Okay, so there is in this water, there is 4 level dessert spoons of sugar, just plain white sugar. And that white sugar will burn up in the fermentation process. There it is, just regular CSR white sugar. You could use raw sugar, or you could use soft brown sugar, and that will just change the flavour a little bit. But just with white sugar, it doesn't change the flavour. You taste lemon and you taste ginger. But if you add raw or soft brown sugar, you get a different taste. Okay, so we are going to juice the lemons. Oh, what I put in there, in addition to the sugar and the water, I also put a level teaspoon of baking soda in there. Sodium bicarbonate. Where'd it go? I had it out. There it is. This stuff. Bicarb soda. That neutralises the acidity a little bit, so we'll do a bit of a pH test once it's made and see if we need to put a little bit more of that in perhaps. So right now I'm just going to start juicing the lemons. So I'm going to stop the video now, juice the lemons, and then we're going to add the lemon juice to the saucepan. Okay? Okay, I have cut all lemons in half, and you can see I've taken all the pips out of them. I just did that with a knife, just sort of flicking them out with a knife, just like that. So now I'm going to start juicing them, and I just use this to juice them. That trusty old juicer there. It doesn't matter how you juice them really, as long as you juice them. So I'm just going to juice them. I'm going to put it on pause again for a minute. Okay, so the lemons are all juiced. There's about 400 mils of lemon juice in there. So if you don't have lemons and you need to go to the supermarket to buy some lemons, you need to, buy half a dozen lemons, or you can buy bottles of lemon juice. It's pretty good product actually. It's pretty sort of pure and not too many additives. So you can just do that if you like. But now I'm just going to put this, get rid of the top of it here. Just going to sort of chuck that in the sink there, and lemon juice goes in here. Okay, so we've already got the sugar in there, we've got the carb soda in there, now the lemon juice is in there. So the next step, I'm just going to check the temperature. So it needs to be about body temperature. Now this is a clean spoon I'm putting there. Just going to give it a bit of a stir. I can feel that there's still some of the sugar not quite dissolved there, so stir it up and that'll dissolve the sugar and the carb soda that's in there. Okay, and so now just to check if it's at body temperature, I'm just going to take a spoonful like this, and I'm just going to put in my mouth, and when it goes in your mouth and it feels about the same temperature as your mouth, it's a body temperature. So that's a body temperature now. It didn't take long to warm it up. You don't want to make it too hot. If you make it too hot, you'll kill the starter that you're putting in there, and it won't ferment. So you just want body temperature. This is basically the same procedure as making yogurt. If you've ever made yogurt, you know, with the yogurt you warm up the milk, you put a little bit of starter in there, and overnight it'll ferment and you'll have yogurt the next day. So it's basically the same thing. You're just using milk and a yogurt starter culture rather than water and ginger and lemon juice. It's exactly the same sort of procedure. So this is this next bit here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get out a clean spoon, and I'm just going to turn the... So I am going to scoop that into my clean tea towel here. Okay, so I open up the tea towel and trying to hold the camera and do the tea towel all at the same time, because my videographer is not here at the moment, so I'm having to do all this myself. So everything out of here goes right into the middle of the tea towel. Okay, so I'm just scooping that out of there. I'm just going to put down the phone for a second. Yeah, so I'm just going to do that for a minute. Okay, so I'm just scooping all of that out of there. So this is all going to go back in there, by the way. And then we're going to add some ginger to it. So, how well can you see all this? So, now I'm just bringing the corners of the tea towel all together, and it forms sort of like it's basically like a tea bag, really. So I'm going to dip this into the saucepan full of warm water, and I'm going to squeeze it. So clean your hands before you do it, of course, to make sure you're not polluting, or contaminating is a better word, I suppose, to make sure you're contaminating the thing. So you can see here the saucepan. I'll just bring it over into the center a little bit. So there's a saucepan full of warm water with lemon juice and sugar and carb soda in there. I'm just going to sort of dip it in there to start with. So I'm just dipping it in there to get the tea towel and the ginger mixture all wet. So just like a tea bag and a cup of tea, right? And then I'm just going to squeeze it. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. Just going to do that a couple of times to get as much flavour out of it as we can. So the more ginger you have in there, the bigger this little lump of fermented ginger is, the more flavour you'll get in there, and the stronger it'll be. So you just experiment with how much you put in there and how strong you like it. But yeah, the last batch I had was pretty good, I thought. So here we go. So I'm just squeezing the rest of the water out of that. And now, that's now ready to bottle. Oh, I'll do a pH test first, but what I'm just going to do now is come back over here. Just going to come back over here. And now I'm just going to scoop what's left in the tea towel. Can you see that? Okay. So I'm just going to scoop that and put it back in this mug. So I'm just going to scrape out the rest of it. Right. And now I'm going to add to this I'm going to add to this some of the liquid that's in here. So I just want it the consistency of sort of a paste, I guess you'd call it. So just adding a bit of water so that it forms a bit of a paste from the bottom, and I'm going to put in there, I'm going to add to that. Whoops. Okay, you're on the video now. I'm going to add to that some of this. Can you see that? Ginger powder. This brand is not available anymore, and I don't know where else you can get it, but it's freeze-dried ginger powder. Okay, so I'm just going to add a bit of this to that. Probably a good heap dessert spoon. And when I want to make some more ginger beer in a week or so, which is usually about how long that ginger beer lasts me, about a week. So I'm just mixing that in. It actually needs a little bit more. Needs a little bit more liquid in there, so I'm just going to add a little bit more liquid from here. Okay, that's about the right consistency now. So it's just sort of basically like a paste. It's a bit hard to see, but you know, that's how it is. We put the foil lid back on it, which stops any nasties getting in there, sort of, but it allows a bit of breathing. So it's because it's not a total seal. So I wouldn't use Glad wrap or anything like that. That's what you need. So I'm just going to pop that in the fridge. And now we're just going to do a pH test. So just with one of these little pH strips, which you can just buy these at a chemist usually. Little pH strips, you just dip it in there. And check the colour against there, and it's probably a bit yellow still, right? So I might put another spoonful of, another teaspoon of carb soda in there. Here we go. So another teaspoon of carb soda. Let that dissolve in there, and that'll probably be enough. We'll do another test when that's still all mixed up a little bit. Give it a bit of a stir. Doesn't take long for that to dissolve. If you're adding too much carb soda, it doesn't taste too good. So you just want a bit of a green tinge to it. So you can see that one's fairly orange, and this one's not so orange. It's not too much green though, but you can sort of see it needs to be about a 6 or 7, you know. 6 is a little bit acid, 7's neutral. So you don't want to put too much in. So it's probably a good time to have a little taste test. So again, I'd just get a spoon. That tastes pretty good. So as I said, if I put any more carb soda in it, if I put in, it wouldn't taste too good. So 2 teaspoons is enough for that amount. If you don't have pH strips, just go by taste or roughly use that amount. Okay, so all we got to do now is put it in bottles, which is really, really simple. So all I do is, oops, sorry about that. I just use this, dip it in there and pour that into the bottles and just tighten up the lids really well and put them in the cupboard for a few days. And as I said, or did I say this before? So I've got these bottles here. These are SodaStream bottles. They're quite firm. I also use this little bottle here, which is pretty soft. And when I fill that bottle up, well, I don't fill it up, I half fill it. After a few days, that bottle will go rock hard. When that bottle's gone rock hard, I know that everything in these bottles will be fermented as well, because it's really hard to tell because they're quite sort of firm bottles. So that's why we do that. Okay, if you have any questions, give me a call or ask in the comments, because it's going to be on YouTube. Have fun making ginger beer, and I hope you like it. It's much nicer than, well, look, the Bundaberg ginger beer is pretty good, but you know, it's $12 or more for a pack of ginger beer bottles, and you can make this for, you know, really the biggest cost is if you're going to buy lemons. That's really the biggest cost. So if you get free lemons, you're laughing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now. Okay, here's the bottles with a bit of airspace at the top. They're already to have their lids go on, and then they just sit in the cupboard for a few days again until this bottle's rock hard. Always leave a space there. Did I say that before? I can't remember. But you leave a space for some air in the bottles because that helps with the fermentation process. So the lids are going on and we're going to be in business. We'll have ginger beer in a few days. Okie dokie. Oh, one last thing that I didn't say is with the lids, put them on nice and tight as you can, so they're sealed, because you don't want the gas escaping. As it ferments, it creates gas, and because there's nowhere for the gas to go, the gas can't go out of the bottle. The gas is forced into the liquid, so that's how the drink becomes carbonated. So if the lid isn't on tight, it doesn't hold the gas in. So it'll still ferment, but it won't be bubbly. And you know, ginger beer without the bubbles is sort of boring. So that's one last tip. If you can't do them uptight yourself, you might need to get someone with stronger hands to do those up for you. Okay? And one more last thing that I forgot is that the bottles don't go in the fridge when you've made them. They go in the cupboard. When they're fermented, then you put them in the fridge, and that slows down the fermentation process. So they would eventually ferment if you just put them in the fridge, but it would take weeks. You need the warmth of just going in the cupboard for them to ferment. Okay?